Built on courage, driven by freedom, defined by patriots who stood their ground. Today, we don't just remember that legacy, we wear it. This is more than a shirt. It's a symbol of strength, freedom, and pride. I'm Steve Stern, COO of theflagshirt.com, and I invite you to celebrate 250 years of the United States with us. Wear your pride, stand for something, get your shirts today. So on our last broadcast, we were lucky enough to sell about 500 items. We want to beat that today. I'm wearing my new hat. Nobody has it. It's going to be starting to ship today, and we're broadcasting with our 250th hat. Theflagshirt.com is our sponsor. As you all know, it costs us to put this on, but we want to thank a few people who have really done a terrific job. We have multiple podcasters on, probably the most we've ever had, but we have to thank Steve Bannon. He's the guy that started this all happening, and he started with Dan Schultz 15 years ago with PrecinctStrategy.com. So I want everybody to go to www.PrecinctStrategy.com to first see how they can get involved and to buy Dan Schultz's book. Now, we've expanded that to PrecinctProjectUSA.org. We want everybody to join that, and we will explain why that's important. So what we've done, we've expanded it starting about 4 months ago. A few of us got together, and Andy Meehan was one of the instigators in this. And what we did was we started something where we have this all over the country. We have one person in every state. If you go to PrecinctProjectUSA.org, you can see that. You can join it. We're going to send out a newsletter every month to everybody. We're going to have multiple things that we're going to be talking about today that's going to let you know what we're doing. Now, why is this important? Well, when I started with Bannon, Fredericks, many of the people 5 years ago, there was 400,000 slots and 200,000 people involved. Today, we have 400,000 slots and 200,000 people involved. Well, we need to get more people involved. So our main goal is to get 200,000 new precinct committee men and committee women involved. And we're lucky enough over the last 3 months, we've got about 10 to 15,000 new people involved. And some of the states are going to tell you how they got more people involved. That's the most important thing, because no matter what happens, if we don't get people out to vote, we're not going to win the elections. And this next election coming up is very important. And the RNC, which I'm part of, I'm the vice chair of Broward County Republican Party. And they've asked me to ask you to go to protectthevote.com. That's protectthevote.com to be a committee, to be a poll watcher or poll worker. So we definitely need that. That's going to be very important. If you need information on anything that happened today, go to stern1054gmail.com. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have regarding precinct strategy, precinctproject.org, or anybody you'd like to contact. My number's on there also, if you'd like to call me. And we ask everybody to get a shirt for our 250th anniversary of the country. So a lot of people ask me, what do you do when you become a committee man and committee woman? Well, you attend meetings, you vote, you get candidates elected. That's the most important thing. You sign up voters, you canvass neighborhoods, you become a poll watcher or a poll worker, or you do phone calls. Then you don't have to do everything, but we need you to do something. What's going to happen next week? We're going to have our election security call next Wednesday. If you want to sign up, go to stern1054gmail.com. We'll send you a link. June the 10th, we're going to have our, every year we do a Flag Day event, but this year we're going to do the anniversary of the 250th commemoration of our United States. So we need speakers. If you have anybody that you'd like to get on there, we usually have celebrities, but we also like to have the average person. So those are the few things that are happening. Again, you can get me, and we'll be talking about this through the whole time we're on today. Our first guest is a very important person. And the reason I had him on first is because I've been in contact with him for a long time. MySCGOP.com, Jeff Davis. Now, what he does is what I'd like to have every state do. Send out a newsletter to as many people as you can that signs up. Now, I'm on his newsletter, but most of the people on his newsletter are South Carolina. And he is a very famous person. Why is he a very famous person? Because he believes in precinct strategy, has helped us all over the United States in doing this, and works round the clock on South Carolina. He's battled through cancer, and he's back in action now. We're lucky to have him on. So, Jeff Davis, please come on from South Carolina.
Steve, Jeff Davis here. Good to see you. Thanks for all you do. Don't know if you have some questions or just want me to kind of get into and tell you what we do here in South Carolina to really promote the precinct strategy.
Yeah, you just come on, talk about South Carolina, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Basically, what we have done in South Carolina, a lot of us, there were a few of us that were involved back in the Greenville, back in the old days, the Tea Party days, and kind of pushing that. But that kind of sort of died out. But then there was like a Tea Party 2.0 that came with the election steal of 2020 and really got a lot of people involved. And our theory here in South Carolina, what we've been pushing is if we want better legislation, we want good, transparent, elections and safe elections, we've got to first take back the party apparatus itself. That will help us get better candidates elected. And once we get better candidates, we can get better legislation passed. And what happened with us back with the 2020 election, our precinct reorg was the next following one was in March of 2021. So the timing was perfect. We got out there. We had bi-weekly meetings. We had one day a week. We would have a Zoom call, a statewide Zoom call, and on Thursday evenings we would have an in-person that we also broadcast live streamed out there, kind of teaching about the precinct strategy. And it's kind of funny because you mentioned Dan Schultz, and he's kind of the founder or kind of the beginning of this. He's the one that taught us all about how the precinct strategy works. And we've had Dan here come speak in South Carolina once, down in Charleston, and also up here in Greenville, South Carolina. But it's really it's a numbers game. We've got to figure out the numbers here in the state of South Carolina. I'm chairman of the Greenville County Republican Party. We won that back in 2021 by getting all those people involved, teaching them openly and transparently about the precinct project. And because what we believe is everything flows from the bottom up. So what we've got is here in Greenville, we have 151 precincts, and we turned out a couple thousand people just here in Greenville, South Carolina, back in 2021. And we've just kind of been the driving force of the MAGA America First movement here in South Carolina. And I will tell you, one of the, but again, it's a numbers game. So if you think about your particular county, we had 151 precincts here. We had to turn out about 3,000 people to take back the party from the Rhino establishment. For our full state here in the state of South Carolina, we got just over 3,000 precincts, and we have 47 counties or 46 counties. So what we do is we focus on finding other people, like-minded people, Trump supporting people in all 46 of those counties, and we break it down into congressional districts and kind of follow those paths and lines. And it's about getting the numbers out. Everybody wants to think about, oh, how do we fight the Rhino establishment? And I will tell you, we have probably over the past 6 years seen about any and every dirty trick that the establishment can throw at you. I will tell you, last year in the 2025 reorg here in South Carolina, the establishment literally came out in one of our big counties, Charleston County, in the lower part of the state, which would have put us over the top of winning the chairmanship for the SCGOP. They literally elected their chairman on a voice vote. So can you imagine having a competitive election for chairman of a county based on a voice vote, where one person is determining whether candidate A or candidate B is the winner? So the one thing I like to encourage people is to not get depressed about this type of stuff. One of the things that we focus on is that you can't win these elections with 50% plus one. You got to win them with 75% of the votes. You need to walk into your precinct and win your precinct. We did it with our individual personal precinct. I think normally they would have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people show up for our precinct and elect leadership. We showed up in 2021 with 50 people. And I will tell you, we got a good friend down in Beaufort County that showed up last year, that showed up 100 people in his precinct. And what he did is he went out and he identified everybody in his precinct. And he told me he could actually, and I was impressed with it, he could actually break down all the Republicans into into people that supported Trump, people that supported Nikki Haley, and people that supported DeSantis. And obviously, we're Trump people, being supporters of Steve Bannon and the such. So we try to turn out the Trump people to come out and vote. But that's how it's all a numbers game. I will tell you what we do here in Greenville County. We are big onto getting information out and getting our numbers up. We literally last week, this is a copy of a newspaper that we did when we had Steve Bannon come and speak at our county convention last year. But we produced 10,000 of these newspapers just last week because we have people lit dropping them all over Greenville County. And that's actually because we have our June primaries here. June 9th is our primary. So it's an opportunity to, number one, remind people about the June primaries that are coming up. And then number two, we're going to come out with a second version of the newspaper on May 22nd that will actually tell people or give them a voter guide on kind of who the party, since we are elected into leadership of the Greenville County Republican Party, who the party supports and endorses. Sometimes that might be two people, maybe just one person per race. But what we did is we created a package that we could literally just go drop on people's doors. So we got 10,000 of these packages with a newspaper, with an actual reminder of the June 9th primary. We have different candidate materials that they will put in there. But what happens there is that allows us to get and build more names. And part of that newspaper actually has like a membership drive. We do a big membership drive. We're trying to get our numbers up to 5,000 paid members here in the county of Greenville, in Greenville County. And I know that, it's either, we are either looked at as a large county here in South Carolina. We're the largest county in the state. But I will tell you, Steve knows down there in Southern Florida, y'all have, I think some of those counties have 3,000 precincts. It was astounding to me. But really, it's all about the numbers, and it's about bringing more people in, giving them positions and responsibilities to do. And one of the other big things that's been focused for us is that we do two things. We established an office, a headquarters building. We were very fortunate to have somebody that for basically cost, insurance, we compensate for the insurance and we compensate them for the taxes, allowed us to have a 1,500 square foot, 2,000 square foot office building here on a main drive here in Greenville County that has 35,000 cars that pass by every day. So if I was encouraging another county, I would say, number one, try to find an ability to have an office that you can staff. We staff our office 5.5 days a week. So that allows a lot of people that come in or move to Greenville to come in, see us, talk to us, get signed up, and volunteer and become members of the Greenville County Republican Party. But the second thing that we do, or as part of that, it's kind of part B, is we have a lot of committees. We have a lot of committees, anything from legislative committees to communication committees to outreach committees. We actually even have a farm committee, a garden committee, because here at our headquarters building, we actually have a plot of about 500 stalks of corn, which we'll do a corn boil here in about 60 days when that stuff harvests. But that getting people involved is a big major push. And then what Steve mentioned earlier is the fact that we put out an email through our nonprofit, because we did set up a 501c3 nonprofit to kind of teach people about the precinct reorg strategy, take what Dan Schultz and what Steve Stern are kind of pushing and Steve Bannon are pushing, and get it deeper down into the grassroots here with all 3,000 precincts we have in the state of South Carolina. So we send out a regular email in that respect. And then we also do a podcast every Friday. We have literally done every single Friday. I think we've missed one when we had a big event here in South Carolina. I think it's actually an event Steve or Dan Schultz came and spoke at. But we have done a podcast every Friday. We call it our Coffee and Politics, and we broadcast it just like this is using a StreamYard, and we broadcast it all across the state on the internet. And we get a lot of people. We interview a lot of candidates and those types of things, but we also utilize that as an ability to teach people about the precinct strategy. So from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock every Friday, we're here with a room full of folks that are asking questions and doing all that type of stuff. And we just keep pushing the envelope. And I will tell you, the other thing that I like to tell folks is the more successful we become at this, the harder the opposition will push against us. So we have seen them ramp up their attacks on what we call MAGA America. Well, we are MAGA America first from the Rhino establishment, because as Steve Bannon talks about, they don't want us involved in the party. I'm 58 years old. I did not, and I've been a lifelong Republican. I was a college Republican at the Citadel down in Charleston, and I will tell you, yeah, I did not even learn about the precinct strategy or precinct reorganization, as we call it here in South Carolina. I did not even learn about it until I was 50 years old. So that's a problem. And what we try to teach people is the party itself likes to, they want to keep it small to control it all. And what we want to do is get as many people involved in precinct strategy, because that's the basis of it all. And Steve Bannon, I tell you, I give him, so much credit, because he is such a believer in the precinct process and precinct strategy of Dan Schultz and what Steve are pushing now. And if we can take back the Republican Party, and we got to take it back from each individual precinct to each county to each state, and then obviously up to the RNC. If we can take that back, and I know we got some good people up there at the RNC level, but we still have a lot of people that have been there for a long, long time. I'll tell you, here in South Carolina, one of our RNC members has been there since I think the mid '90s. And it's time for some new folks and some new blood up there. So we're working really hard, and we can't thank Steve Stern and Steve Bannon and Dan Schultz enough for it. So,
question: how do people reach you if they want to get your information, so that we have a lot of people that are texting, they may want to speak to you or
sure,
get a hold of you? It's very important.
Yeah, what we do is obviously they can get in touch with us through the Greenville County Republican Party. That's greenvillegop.com. If they go to that website, they can contact us, sign up for emails, all that kind of stuff. But really, through our educational efforts, we do it through a nonprofit called MySCGOP. We named it myscgop.com. They can go there, do /join, sign up. It's really for people in South Carolina. But we also do, we found a need to do a news blast as part of the email, but we have myscgop.news. So it's really mainly South Carolina centric, education oriented, and a lot of people can use the same information in other states as well. So we're happy to do that.
Jeff, thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate it. You're doing a great job, and we need people to follow you so that they can do this in every state.
Great. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, sir.
You got it. All right. So our next guest is Andy Meehan from Butler, Pennsylvania. He's one of the founders of Precinct Project USA.org. Very important for everybody that's listening. We got millions of people listening. PrecinctProject.org. It's not hard. If you go there, you can sign up, and it's very important to sign up. So let's see if we got Andy in the back room. We'll get him on.
There, Steve?
Okay, you're there. You're ready to rock and roll.
All right, thanks, Steve. Thanks for having us on. You're close. I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'm somewhere that begins with a B, but it's not Butler. We're Bucks County. So Bucks County is just north of Philadelphia. And
turn your volume up a little bit.
Turn my volume up a little bit?
Yep, a little bit.
Let me see these controls here. Hold on. Bear with me a second here. Jack, yep.
You're better.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, Steve, and I'll try to get through it quickly here. Number one, it's very important for people running the precinct strategy or wanting to get involved at all in understanding how the political system works. And in most places around the country, the political parties are set up as nonprofit associations, and they are governed. They're not owned by shareholders. They're governed by bylaws. And so you need to become very familiar with the bylaws of your organizations in order to understand how they work, so that you know how to navigate the waters inside there. You can probably go, we call them the Board of Elections here in Bucks County. Other places have different names for them, but normally the party rules are available from your Board of Elections. They have to provide them to you because we use the public taxpayer-funded voting election systems to elect the private committee members that are in the parties. So you also want to get a copy of your state committee bylaws so that you understand from the top down all the way down to the county level how the parties work. And you should probably make a little organizational chart that demonstrates that for people. I recommend going to the Board of Elections and getting a list of all the precincts in your county, and then making a spreadsheet out of that and populating that with each precinct, filling in the names and the information of the committee members that are members of that, so that you know who the players are, what seats are filled and what seats are empty, and how to get in touch with those people. You can typically get this information. Your party's not going to give it to you, most likely. You can get this information by downloading a copy of all the petitions that are filed for people that are running for the precinct level committee seats, and you can see their names and their emails and their cell phone numbers on there, and they'll list every single precinct in the election results also after your primary election. So very important to do that. And you want to find out of all those people that are in the committee, what are they like? You know, who are they? Are they rhinos? Are they patriots? Are they normies? And keep track of that on your spreadsheet. And then you want to also obtain reports from the FEC about who's giving money to the party, so that you know who the players and the donors are. So it's very important. Moving along, we'll talk a little bit about some of the tools of the trade that you need to run the precinct strategy. And it's very important. If you've got groups in your area that are already doing the precinct strategy, you want to team up with those people and not reinvent the wheel. I do agree with our prior speaker, Jeff, that you should set up an entity. Right for Bucks is a 501c4. We're set up basically as an educational type of outfit. But there's reasons for setting up a nonprofit. So you should probably do that as well. You also need to develop a digital infrastructure so that you can manage communications and resources and libraries of files to educate your volunteers and to reach them with effective messaging and to achieve electoral success. Because if you're not going to get people elected, then what are you doing this for? So you need to set up a website, and you'll need to purchase a subscription for an industrial strength type of email account so that you can send out hundreds and hundreds of emails without getting flagged as being a spammer by your provider. You want to set up social media accounts on all the social media platforms so that you can connect with people. You want to enlist the help of volunteers that have superpowers. So people that are great at managing data, people who are great at graphics design, people that have certain talents. There might be great public speakers, or a lot of different roles are going to have to be played in order for your organization to be successful. You want to have a parliamentarian that you're familiar with, so that you don't get steamrolled over in these meetings when you want to question something or bring up something or vote on something, and the rhinos don't want you to have any say in what goes on. So you want to become familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and how you navigate these meetings. You want to import a database of the voters in your county. You can also get this from your county board of elections. It's going to be a big file, and you can import that, and you can use some type of Microsoft Access or a different type of off-the-shelf CRM program like ACT. That's what we use here at Right for Bucks. We've customized the ACT database to run the precinct strategy. So we keep track of all the information we need about people, psychographics, demographics, information, what flavor of voter are they? Are they a rhino, a patriot? So we know that we can customize messages. We also have it tied to a texting platform so that you can send out text messages to people, select groups that you keep in your database. You want to maintain very strict control over your data. A lot of times people are tempted to give all their data to candidates that are running, so those candidates can go off and contact voters. You got to be really careful with this kind of thing, because your data is going to get into the hands of the people that you're trying to replace, and they will use it against you. So be very careful with your data. And you want to enlist the help of patriots that are on the inside of these county committees. There's going to be people sympathetic to you that will be able to get you information that the party won't give you unless they think they can trust you. And so you want to have people on the inside that are working to help you. And you got to be creative and never underestimate the lengths that these people will go to make you unsuccessful and to kill you. I can tell you hundreds of stories about our experience here in Bucks County, which is a swing county run by a really entrenched set of rhinos that have a corrupt set of bylaws that go back to 1972. We've had 2 county chairs in over 50 years, and they're still clinging to these corrupt and invalid bylaws. We're in court right now challenging them so that they can't run their own internal elections using voice voting and proxy voting. And you're not allowed to do this in Pennsylvania if you don't have valid bylaws on file. And we caught them having invalid bylaws. And so they were in a world of trouble about it. And that's a big thing. You sometimes have to take legal action to get where you're going, because these people are ruthless and they'll cheat, lie, and steal and do anything that they can to hold on to power, which is what power does. And last of all, you want to organize in-person and Zoom meetings, training events, social and fundraising events. We do petition training events. We have a Rumble channel that we post videos up to educate people on the process of how you get elected, how you get on the ballot, et cetera, et cetera. You need door knocking days. You need to list resources on your website, tricks and tools of the trade, how-tos, how to do door knocking, what type of bags you should buy for your literature, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these kinds of things are very important. And you can see what we do here in Bucks County if you go to our website, www.write4bucks.com. That's FOR, write4bucks.com. And that's all I had today for you, Steve. Hopefully that's helpful. And anybody that has any questions can reach me at andy@write4bucks.com.
Thanks very much, Andy. We appreciate everything you're doing and a great help to me and everybody else that's going. So again, we've had about 500 people join. So go to precinctprojectusa.org. Very easy. Precinctprojectusa.org. Join. You'll get a lot of information. And that's the most important thing, is information. Andy, you started this with me and a few other people, and it's really taken off all over the country. Do you have any suggestions on how people can get involved?
Well, yeah, you have to build it and they will come. So you got to set up that website. You got to set up that entity. Go out and do it. You can't just be out there on Facebook complaining. You got to do something. So that means you got to get elected as a precinct committee member. It's the only way we're going to save this country. I agree with Dan, is that we need basic civics 101 to get back into style.
Thanks very much. Our next guest is Dale Livingston from Maryland. We know that's a blue state, but we're trying to turn it red. So Dale, tell us how we can do that.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate this very much. I am very new to this whole concept of the Precinct Strategy Project. I've been looking into it. Thank you for sending me the information, Steve. It is something that we should be doing in Maryland. As you said, Maryland is very blue. And so our efforts are always running into brick walls, no matter what happens. So I'm a member of Secure the Vote, and that is a grassroots organization statewide here in Maryland that was started by Kate Sullivan. And we focus on cleaning up our voter rolls. We deal with election legislation issues, and of course, fair and transparent elections in Maryland. We have a lot of volunteers over the state not in every county, but in most of the counties. We're working hard to up those numbers. And we try to keep each other aware and informed as to what's going on in each one of the counties. Because Maryland's a party state, of course, one of the laws is we have to have parity at our polling places. And that means that you have to have the same number of majority party affiliates, the same number of minority party affiliates. And if there's a problem with recruiting a Democrat or Republican, then and only then can you hire a non-affiliated. Well, that's not what's happening in Maryland, because there are a lot of polling places that only have maybe one Republican. Some don't have any Republican election judges. So that's been a big problem here in Maryland. We've been working on that. Secure the Vote is working with the Maryland GOP. They have set up a organization. It's called Protect the Vote. And people we're trying to recruit Republicans. People can sign up, fill out forms, and then those forms are tracked to make sure that when they go to the local boards of elections, that those boards of elections actually contact those people and train them so that they can work in the polling places. We're working very hard to do that. It's been a big problem in Maryland lately. And so that's one of the biggest issues we're working on at this point. We also are trying to get information from our local boards so that the people in each county do understand what is happening. For example, the public is supposed to have access to what's called a parity report, and that means the split between the Republicans and Democrat election judges. They're supposed to have access to that. Well, we don't have access to that in a lot of our counties, so we're working to get access. A lot of our volunteers are very dogged about it. They go to the meetings at the local boards. They make presentations. A lot of times the local boards will take their information and say thank you and don't let the door hit you on the way out. So Maryland has been very difficult for in a lot of our counties. And this precinct project strategy project is enticing. It's very enticing. And I will definitely get in touch with different people that are doing that in different states. It's we need that. We need that in Maryland. We need our people to know that there is a place to go to get support, the support that we need in Maryland. So anyway, like I said, our organization is Secure the Vote. It was started by Kate Sullivan. You can contact us at info@securetheVoteMaryland.com. You can also find out about the precinct, the Protect the Vote to become election judge in Maryland. And that would be going to www.republicanpollworkers.com, Maryland. And also, if you want to email Secure the Vote, you can contact us at info@securetheVoteMaryland.com. And we'd love to hear from people because our website is extremely well put together. It's got a lot of great information on it. And we would really hope that more and more people would go there and extract the information that we have there. We talk about all of the issues, legislative issues, each county, what is going on in each county, how people can get involved in each county. Because our counties are, the boards are set up that whatever the affiliation is of the governor's office, the boards then are a majority governor and then minority to other minority party. And it's the same with our state board of elections. So a lot of times, and now for the past few years, we've had majority Democrat board members that don't really want to talk to many of us that go to these meetings, but we try to do our best to get information to them. So that's about all I have really, because like I said, I'm very new to this whole precinct strategy project. It's very interesting and I want to learn more about it. So I will keep in touch with you all.
Well, thank you very much. Al. We appreciate you coming on today. I know you substituted for Kate because she had a problem with, I think, her dad. So we always appreciate when people can get on. As you know, when you produce this, it takes a little time. So
not a problem. Thank you very much, Steve.
You got it.
I appreciate it.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
250 years ago, a nation was born. Built on courage, driven by freedom, defined by patriots who stood their ground. Today, we don't just remember that legacy, we wear it. This is more than a shirt. It's a symbol of strength, freedom, and pride. I'm Steve Stern, COO of theflagshirt.com, and I invite you to celebrate 250 years of the United States with us. Wear your pride, stand for something, get your shirts today.
Thank you very much. So again, go to theflagshirt.com, www.theflagshirt.com. They pay for all our computer use and everything that we're doing. My son's company, I turned it over to him. I've been in business 72 years and I'm going to be 85 here in May. So we need young people to come in. So if there's young people listening, get in touch with me, stern1054@gmail.com. Next month, we're going to try to get in a YR conference with all young people. It'll be one of the largest Zooms that we've ever had. It's going to be attended by a friend of mine and myself, and we'll see what we can do. We want to thank Voice of the People, Dan Schmiliglio, my good friend. He broadcast in 58 countries. Larry Kortkamp from OBBM Network. Steve Bannon is on Getter and Rumble right now. SG Annan always gets tons of people on for us. Rumble on the front page. The War Room. We've got a lot of people streaming, and we'll try to acknowledge everybody on that. Now comes up one of my good friends, Carlos Santos, who is the chairman in New Jersey. He's going to tell you a story how he got tons of people involved. So Carlos, come on down. Can't hear you. Unmute. Still can't hear you, Carlos. All right, we're going to have probably technical difficulty with him. And do we have?
Can you hear me?
There you go. We can hear you now.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Steve, for having me on. And first of all, I want to thank you for putting this together because it's really important. So a couple of years ago, back in about 2017, 18, I was an iron worker, got hurt at work, sitting home, realizing, what's going on politically. I decided I was going to get involved. Became a committee man in New Jersey. They're committee men, not precinct strategy, or precinct men. Same thing, different places. So I started realizing that a lot of the counties and the local parties didn't have people involved, and realized, well, wait, why are they not filling these spots? There's people that want to get involved. It was about keeping power to the way they wanted people to vote. So I decided to go into the strong urban areas where they had nothing, no committees there for over 20 plus years, and started hosting barbecues and different events, inviting people out. I had offered the Board of Elections voter rolls, and then they had phone numbers on them. So we were able to start calling through. I started making hundreds and hundreds of calls, inviting people out to the barbecues, did a couple events, had one or two people show up, didn't get discouraged, turned around, did it the following weekend, had 3 or 4. Eventually, over a few weeks, I was able to create committees in 2 of the cities that we did not have them, small numbers, like 5 or 6 people. Over the next couple of years, or over that same year, I just kept growing the numbers. Well, eventually the county chair position became up in 2022, was for election. And I decided to run for county chair, knowing I had the support. I built out, a ton of committee members around the county. And we went from having, I think, 270 about in the county to now we're well over 650 countywide. I have about another 100 spots to go, or about 80 spots to go. I'm going to have them filled. I am up for re-election this year. I think I'm doing a good job. People are saying, I'm going to be most likely uncontested for the most part. And we're just building the party and building, and, we've got good candidates now that because of the change, it was basically sitting down, figured out what was going on and trying to make a change. Before I had became chair, they had asked me to run for county commissioner. I said yes, put my name on the ballot. County gave me no support. They wanted me to hold a spot on the ballot basically, and I went out and I knocked on over 20,000 doors or 30,000 doors that summer by myself, raised like $22,000, $24,000 on my own, spent the entire thing trying to get the campaign with really no guidance, no support, nothing. So I said, that's never going to happen to another candidate again. and I decided that's how what was gonna make me run for county chair. Since then, we've had candidates that are, it's a tough neighborhood, a tough county that we're in. It's primarily Democrat, but we're working to win some local elections. We have candidates right from the get-go that are looking to get involved. We don't have to struggle to find them. Last year, for the very first time, we were able to get enough poll workers to have parity in every single district in our county, which has never happened. We had Republican representation at every location. We've had a ton of poll challengers. That's what they're called here. I'm not sure all over the country what they're called, but doing stuff like that and having an active party now, people are energized. People want to do things. It's easier for us to get people involved. I've been fighting with the Board of Elections on the parity issue nonstop. The other day, it hit me in the head, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? We have parity between Republican poll workers, Democrats, and we've cut some of the unaffiliated out. We've gotten rid of some of the poll workers that were no good or doing things. And I realized all of our Board of Elections employees that actually work day to day there's 2 Republicans and the rest is Democrats. So I'm like, well, we have to fix the problem in the Board of Elections on a year-round basis to get better parity there. It has to start at the full-time employees, not just the poll workers. So that's something I'm working to do now. We just had in New Jersey, we had a county line system for a long time. They eliminated that last year, but we still get a slogan to endorse our candidates. It gets bracketed with them. Last year, they passed a law saying that, another county or another candidate cannot run with the same slogan or something very close. This year, somebody tried to challenge that law and almost got away with it, but I fought the state attorney general's office in the Division of Elections. I filed a lawsuit against them, and we turned out winning the lawsuit. That candidate had to change the names, their slogan that's bracketed with us, so they didn't look like the endorsed candidates by the county. So we're taking the fight to it. We're going to keep building. We're growing. If anybody needs to reach out to me, I'm accessible with questions. I forgot to mention, I had ran a Zoom call weekly around the state, and I've asked all these grassroots groups before I was chair to share it out, teaching people weekly. Every Thursday night, we were doing this Zoom call, teaching people how important the county committee is, how to get involved, what the importance of being involved is, and how you can make some changes around the county. So, Steve, I don't have much more than that. If you have a question, I can answer, but I know it was short of time, but.
You have about 700 members, am I correct?
Yes.
So tell us how you and I talked, and you said you had a couple of new ways of getting people involved. Could you tell our audience how you do that?
So a lot of that I've been hosting monthly breakfast events around the county, and on social media, sharing them out. $20, you come and get breakfast, and more people seem to keep coming out to the breakfast events because more people go back and they're talking to their friends and saying, "Hey, come on, let's go." And I think a lot of it has to do with the parties very active. I mean, since I'm out of work because of my back injury, I'm at it every day. It's a full-time job plus some for me. Not job, I don't get paid, so I should correct that. But it's literally, I'm at it every single day, making phone calls, trying to recruit people. The social media presence has grown, and people are actually calling me to try and get involved a little bit too. So it's pretty good. And then I have all my municipal chairs also reaching out to try and get more and more people involved too. So we've done that basically on our local level, right down to the district, told all my committee members, hey, if you're one person out of the 2 in the district, you need to find somebody else to be on the committee with you. So I have my committee members actually calling into their districts and into other districts to help me fill these spots as well.
So if people want to get involved, how do they get involved in New Jersey?
I mean, you can reach out to me. My email is chairman@unioncountygop.org. Our website, it's down right now. We got attacked last night and somebody crashed the website, but it's unioncountygop.org.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you doing a fantastic job in New Jersey. I know it's a tough state. Hopefully they'll get all the illegals off the voter rolls and we'll be able to get more people elected to office in New Jersey. So again, thank you very much. You got it. So again, we have a lot of podcasters doing this today. We want to get a couple of important people. The recognized totalnews.com. We want people to go to totalnews.com. They are out of San Diego and Arizona. They are going to have something new. Not a good friend of mine. Jonathan Alexander is streaming this from Arizona. My good friend from New York, Joe DeBox, one of the great guys. He's got 5 or 6 podcasters streaming this today. He's got a tremendous warehouse where he has many, many events. Want to make sure people get in touch with him. Daniel Walker, one of our first people to do our sponsorship and broadcasters, State of Freedom. George Ballantyne, my good friend, the Big Mig. Doug Hagman, the Hagman Report. Jim Tingley, Patriot Pulse. Mike Schwartz, the Mike Schwartz Show. Murray Edwards has a ton of people sponsoring this thing, the newscasters. So thank you very much. We'll repeat a little bit more later on some more people, but now we're going to bring on our next guest, Marissa Benson from Nebraska.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about this. So Nebraska, very conservative state, but we did implement the precinct strategy back in 2022. And we overhauled our Republican Party here in the state, and we've been growing since. So I am the vice chair of District 3, and I'm way up in the northeast corner in Nebraska. And so I do serve as the vice chair over 80 counties, and our counties today in District 3 are thriving because of the precinct strategy. And we have implemented this since, I think, back as far as 2022. It's kind of a ground up approach. So when I got involved in politics a few years ago, 6 years ago-ish, I was kind of shocked by what I saw at the local level here in my county, but even moving up, there was a lot of empty seats. Nobody was participating. And even at the state central committee here in Nebraska, I would say 40 to 50% of the elected precinct committee members were not going to meetings. I started asking questions and asking leaders, why are these seats vacant? Where is everybody at? And I was told the same answers. Nobody wants the seats. Nobody shows up for the seats. Nobody runs. And I was questioning it. It almost felt intentional. And so it was easy to see that there was a small group in control that wanted those seats vacant. And so it kind of hit me, if those bottom level positions aren't filled and the whole party has no foundation, that, well, essentially it's like a beehive. I'm a commercial beekeeper. And so this analogy kind of comes naturally to me. In a hive, bear with me here, every single bee has a job, and the youngest bees clean the hive and take care of the nurse the babies. As they grow, they take on new roles. So if the workforce at the bottom slacks off, the queen's health suffers, the whole colony suffers, and it weakens honey production. Okay. So the same thing happens in politics. If your precinct people and your county workers aren't active, then the leaders at the top have no real support. There's no harmony going on, and the whole operation is struggling. So we decided to change that. So in the 3rd district, it was a county by county. We started just recruiting everyday average conservatives, moms, dads, farmers, small business owners, people who just had small grassroots values. And they were just tired of watching from the sidelines. They wanted to help out. They wanted to fill these precinct seats, but we actually brought them in and we showed them what the job entailed. We didn't just put them there. We guided them, and they learned their role, and they showed up and they did the work. And so the results kind of speak for themselves. I'm just going to talk about my county real quick. In Cedar County, when I moved here 14 years ago, there wasn't political signs. In fact, maybe one. Today, the energy is completely different. There's signs all over the county, yard signs, and people are asking questions. There's events, forums happening in my small town that were never happening prior. People are showing up to our commissioners meetings, our city council meetings, and they're asking questions. They're no longer sitting back and letting elected officials just do as they please. And so we did that by taking like-minded patriots, putting them together. We partnered with other local patriot groups. We knocked on doors. We put up flyers. We hosted those meetings. We held our elected officials accountable. And then those active precinct workers started producing strong county workers and leaders who had real conservative values. And I'm kind of living proof of that. So I began at the county level, and I got active in my precinct. And as a member of the state central committee, I worked my way up to now lead as a vice chair of a whole congressional district. And so they put, so basically what I'm saying is you can move up, and it's effectively teaching people how to be in these leadership roles. Another example is Adams County here in Nebraska. The leader there is fantastic. Shout out to Deb Carlstrom. She's amazing. So she's very energetic. She's exciting. She's a leader. She teaches people and has an incredible volunteer base that can make her county successful by putting on these large events. And that's by keeping people active, communicating, and engaging in everything below, essentially making politics fun. And I know politics aren't fun, but that's how you do it. So we've seen the same pattern across District 3, and counties are filling those precincts, those delegate positions in their counties, and it holds strong. As long as those positions are filled by workers and America's First type leadership, they're going to send principal delegates to the state level, and it will kind of radiate all the way up. So in Nebraska, we just wrapped up our county conventions for 2026, and we're going to be heading to state convention with a real momentum. We have some pretty good races here. Out in District 3 for a long time, I think that people slept on us, but it's funny to watch candidates come out now to our active counties and try to get those endorsements because they know they're very important, and District 3 turns out to vote. So the precinct project here has been amazing. It's really not that complicated. It's just common sense. You recruit, and then you train, and then you make sure that people do their jobs at the lowest level, and then that strength carries all the way to the top. It's kind of essentially when your workforce is healthy, the whole hive will thrive type mentality. Out here in the 3rd district, we have some tools that we use. My District 3 chair, Chris Vale, you spoke with her. She runs one of the largest social media political pages in Nebraska, and we keep people informed and engaged there. District 3 has an amazing newsletter that comes out weekly that has every single event in District 3 in there. You can get a hold of your leaders, your county leaders, and we keep people engaged. I believe Buck might have said something about having a parliamentarian, and we do in District 3. And I think it's fundamental that people understand in politics, you should show up, but you should also know the rules. So I always say, learn the rules, learn your constitutions, understand that there is some sort of, you have to know what's fair, and you have to know the rules to run with things. Let's see here. I'm just kind of, we encourage slate cards. I think slate cards are amazing for our counties to implement. It keeps people informed, especially if you've built confidence. If the people in your county know you, they know you grassroots people, and you're out there all the time promoting positivity and promoting great grassroots conservative values, they will enjoy those slate cards. They will use them. So that just kind of ties it up. That's exactly kind of what we've done in Nebraska in District 3. And I just hope that the story kind of encourages people to get out there and implement the precinct project. I think that Nebraska is a little bit different, but fundamentally the same in any state.
How do they reach you if they want to get a hold of you to get involved?
So you can email me at cedarcountygop13@yahoo.com, and I can get back to you there.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and we'll get you back on again.
Thanks.
You're quite welcome. Okay, so we want to thank a few more people. We have a lot of people streaming this. We're getting a lot of information back. At some time, I have to listen to the whole program over because I'm getting texts from all over the country. thanking us for having people really come up in states that have never been on before. So I want to thank Scott McKay, who's doing the podcast here for us in Texas, Terry Kaiser, Tea Time, Randy Mansell, and Darryl Ross, Patriot with Grits, Lyle from Arizona Today, YourNews.com, my good friend Sam Anthony, huge supporter. I'm an investor in the company. You want to get the app, YourNews.com, very important. Just got a text from Grace Chung. Thank you very much, from Bannon. She's podcasting this on Getter and on some of the other channels. I want to thank her so much. She's our leading person. Usually gets 60, 70,000 people. Hopefully we get that many. So our next guest is going to bring some information from Colorado, a blue state, and how it's coming on. So Nancy Pelosi, please come down. Okay, you're on, Nancy. Can you? Are you
Everybody
unmuted?
hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity of talking with you all today. I really appreciate all of your hard work that you do, Steve. You constantly keep me in contact of things that you're doing on a national level, and I just really appreciate this. We have been working really hard here in Colorado. We just got over our caucus and assembly process here that started in February. And we ended up closing this out here a couple of weeks ago with our state assembly. I have some exciting news in terms of Colorado. We have, because of the caucus and assembly, we have 2,722 new PCPs or precinct chair people here in Colorado. And that is very exciting. We're starting to get them engaged and teaching them what they need to be doing. So we're doing training. Training is going to start in June here. We're going to have some full day trainings for all kinds of different things on a statewide level on that. And we also, it's good and bad news kind of thing. We had in our caucus, we had a little under 10,000 attendees on a statewide basis. And the bigger counties, what we call kind of the Denver metro area and the I-25 corridor, which goes from Fort Collins down to Pueblo, basically. Those are larger counties, and we didn't have the turnout as we were hoping in the larger counties. We are getting a lot of the smaller counties. We have 64 counties here in Colorado, and a lot of the rural and mountain counties actually did a tremendous, wonderful job, and they increased their participation with their caucuses and assemblies. So, and that is the most conservative part of Colorado, actually, is the rural part. And we've got to do some strategy in terms of trying to get some of the Republicans engaged here in the larger counties. We are a very blue state, very, very blue state. It's very difficult to actually find candidates to actually run because they get beat up so badly by the Democrats here. And in my own county, I'm in Jefferson County, our third largest county, and we have some seats that there will be no Republican going against the Democrat, unfortunately. This used to be the most conservative county in the state, and it's sometimes nationally they would look at it, whatever Jefferson County did on a national level is what would, come about in terms of the elections, and especially in Colorado, it's still that way. Whatever Jefferson County does, usually the state does. So we have some good candidates that came out of it, out of the state assembly. One young man who was running for Secretary of State is somebody who has worked with Tina Peters. Is very knowledgeable, and we are hoping for the best that we can take back the Secretary of State's office for that. If you want more information about how you can help this young man win, I can forward you information to him about him to you so that you can maybe possibly donate to this campaign. It's pretty vital here in Colorado. that's the most important seat I believe we need to take back so that we can get back our elections here in Colorado, the Secretary of State's office. Little news, Steve asked me to just talk about Tina real briefly here. She lost her appeal the other day in the courts. However, Governor Polis, who is we all think is going to try to take a run for President of the United States here in 2 years, has asked the courts to have her go down to the original judge that sentenced her for these horrible 9 years that she's having to put into play. And they're going to have a resentencing for her. And rumor is that Governor Polis is putting the pressure on them to just let her take the sentence as it is and let her be free. So we're hoping that happens on Tina's sake. She's not well, and this is horrible what has happened to her, but we're there for her. There is there's a daily prayer that goes on for her. So if anybody is interested in signing in to a phone conversation and it's about a 15-minute prayer they do every day for Tina, but it's a good thing. And the prayers are working a little slower than we want, but they are working. So what we're going to do here in June, we're going to have some trainings for the PCPs. We're also going to do some trainings for the new candidates to help them get into the process. We have a gentleman here who has stepped up and is an AI expert, and he is going to do some training with our current elected officials as well as our candidates to help how we can incorporate AI into the campaigns. The Democrats do it, and we need to learn ourselves here in Colorado. And we're just going to work really super hard to get people engaged here. I'm doing this kind of on the side. I have a monthly Zoom call that I do with all the county leadership people, chairs, vice chairs, and secretaries. And ours is coming up next week. And we do trainings for all the county chairs. We do usually a speaker, and then we give the opportunity for the counties to actually talk to each other, get to know each other, and to form relationships with each other. Right now, we have a lot of infighting going on at the state level. And so we've gone around, not saying that we're going around the state right now, but until some of this infighting stops, the other counties have to actually still engage and get Republicans elected here right now. And so that's where we're at, is we need to get Republicans elected into the state. Otherwise, it's just going to continue down this horrible road that we have going on right now. We're almost at the Democrats are almost at a super majority again. So we have to win back some seats this year. And for any other information that you want to know about Colorado, you can contact me. My email is Nancy Palazzi, not Pelosi. Haha. It's Nancy Palazzi, PALLOZZI @gmail.com. And you can call me directly at 720-353-3171. And I'll be more than happy to help you through that. I've been through this my whole life, staunch Republican, conservative, and there's lots of people fleeing the state, but I'm hanging in there, and a lot of us are trying to win back the state.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And now we're going to talk about our next call will be our election security call before our next guest comes on. Let everybody know. We're going to have a special guest on who's going to break some news, hopefully. It's going to be next Wednesday at 2:00 Eastern. It'll be on all the same channels that we have on now. John Goodman will come up hopefully with breaking news. We'll have Mike Howell on. We'll have Peter Tickton, who will be giving you information, the latest information on Tina. We'll have Linda Sinkowitz, fightvoterfraud.org, Marley Hornick, Jeff Clark, who worked in the White House, who's now in a big operation, Urson Russell from Orange County, California, Lisa Bennett, Stan Woodward from Dallas, Jay Kaminsky, Ed Vidal from Miami, and Mike Howell. So this will come on 2:00 Eastern time next Wednesday, May the 6th. Hopefully everybody will join us. Also, again, let's put up our Precinct Project USA. I know we keep saying it, but we need people to sign up. We got about 700 people that signed up so far. We need another 1,000 to sign up today if possible. And also go to theflagshirt.com, www.theflagshirt.com. I want to put up a little sign here. Maybe a lot of people don't know about it, but this is the copy of what President Trump signed to endorse precinct strategy. So we've had this at many areas, and if President Trump endorsed it, we want everybody to join Precinct Strategy and Precinct Project, get involved. And our next guest will be coming in from California, Chris Campanello. He will be giving up some great information because, as you know, California has really done a bad thing by getting the reorganization and then making it almost impossible for a Republican to win there for Congress. However, all the red states are now changing. As you know, I'm in Florida, and we're going to get rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It looks like she is going to step aside. I want to say 50 claps for that. We got reorganized here, and a lot of people don't even know where they can run because it's so mixed up. But we're going to get some great Republicans running and take over the state. We hope to pick up 4 seats, and we're hoping the same thing happens in many, many other states. So our next guest, Chris, you want to come up?
Thank you, Steve. Gosh, there's been a lot of great information delivered here today, and I would urge everyone who's serious about precinct strategies to review this podcast over and over again. Take good notes. I'll get started because we don't have much time here. Can everybody see my screen?
Not you. We're good.
Yes, my shared screen, precinct strategies. Okay. This is not a definitive guide, okay? I can share only what worked for us, and it was a long haul. It took us over 4 years to accomplish this, and it's not for the faint of heart. Building disciplined, structured grassroots organizations. So we're going to review building grassroots movement, structuring and growing influence, and winning long-term political engagement. This, to me, is the most important slide I'm going to show you today. Seek divine intervention. I can do nothing without he who sustains me. This simple statement, when put into practice, has power beyond our comprehension. Please pray. Our core strategy overview is build a committed local team, develop structure and leadership, and stay focused on long-term success. And there will be small successes along the way, thankfully. What we found very, very effective is forming an ad hoc committee. The goal is to fill the central committees with patriots, but having a separate from the GOP Central Committee, ad hoc committee achieves that goal. We started an election integrity committee here in Marin, and it proved to attract a lot of people. In 22, we had over 200 volunteers observing elections. And from that group of people, our core structure emerged, and that was our pool to draw committee members from. A formal structure is very essential. We'll go over that in a little more detail in a moment. And it will create a training ground to start a movement, your ad hoc committee. You cannot have a committee without members. You have to learn how to recruit and do it constantly. Attend events of like-minded people, collect and maintain a list of contacts. Everywhere you go, you have to have a sign-up list with you, and you have to engage everyone you meet and encourage participation in all your activities. We need to create a structure. Your committee will need to have a chair, a vice chair, secretary, and possibly a treasurer once you get going. You need to meet regularly, set up some rules for your committee, assign tasks, set deadlines, and set clear recruiting goals. That is really, really important. We need to build coalitions. Here in Marin, there's 3 different women's Republican organizations and many other grassroots organizations and associate groups that we in our election integrity committee contacted, formed relationships with all of them. And this is critical. You have to get yourself noticed. You have to get out there, and you have to help these other groups with their goals. and they will be happy to help you with your goals. Prepare for challenges. Expect opposition. Okay, we've heard a lot tonight about rhinos. Here in Marin, we had a huge problem with that. We had huge resistance, and we even had resistance from the state level. So people are gonna work against you. Dig in and move forward, and you will be successful. Vetting information and participants, who was mentioned earlier tonight, is extremely important. Don't pass on information that you haven't vetted, okay? It'll only make you look bad. Make sure everything you put forward is true. And vetting participants, okay? There's gonna be infiltrators. There's gonna be those who wanna come and disrupt your activities and disrupt your meetings. Be very careful about vetting participants. Take that seriously. Stay disciplined and stay alert always. In order to succeed, okay, this took us 4 years to accomplish. It might have taken less had we known what we were doing ahead of time. So this information is very, very helpful to those who are just starting in this game. Commit to a sustained effort. Engage in leadership opportunities. And by that, I mean, allow your members to shine, enable them, lift them up. Everybody has gifts that they can bring. When we first started our committee, I was amazed at how the people we needed came to us at the exact times we needed them. And that has a lot to do with prayer. We open up our meetings in prayer and a pledge, and we still do to this day. And I believe that has had a great influence on our success. Building influence takes time, okay? Don't expect things to happen overnight. Again, it took us 4 years, okay? So really what I want to emphasize is you need to build a strong local organization with ties to the other local grassroots organizations, and together you can all be stronger. It's extremely important. Stay focused, prepare for the long haul, and be persistent. Take action and move forward. We have staged events, we have picnics, we have dinners, we have meet and greets. There's all kinds of ways to get involved, meet people, get in the middle of the fray. Okay. And again, I'll say this again and again. Be prepared for the long haul. If you're not serious about this stuff, it's not going to happen for you. Okay. And our system may not work for you. Take it, shape it, make it your own, and make it work, okay? Because it can, it did. So thank you, Steve, for this opportunity. I really appreciate this. And if you have any questions for me, great. And feel free to share my contact information for people who need to know more. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how do people reach you?
You can reach me at, I'll give you my email, which is Chris, CHRIS dash CONST-CO at mindspring.com. Or
Thank you very much.
You can get in touch with the Marin GOP leadership, and I asked Melissa to put a few links in the chat for you guys because for some reason, I don't have access to the chat.
No problem. Okay, we're getting a lot of people in chats all over the country. Want to thank a few more people. Cloud Hub always does a great job in streaming us. Lindell TV, Stern American Rumble, of course, you know that. Getter, again, Steve Bannon and his crew doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. Without them, it would be real tough. X, we're on X. Many people in Maryland and other areas are getting us on Twitter. We're almost everywhere, and that's exciting because people are calling all the time asking how to get involved, and hopefully they're going to call you. Again, if you go and join precinctprojectusa.org, you can see one person in every state that you can get a hold of. So if you're looking to get a hold of somebody, they're on there. You can get guides. You can get so much information that never came out before. I think that's so important. And we're going to bring the next guest on. That's very important. She's out of Florida, out of Hillsborough. We work together very good. She has a lot of information, Karen Leonardo. who has sensational information. We're using her guide. So bring her down, see if she's up there, and we'll get her on.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for allowing me to join your call. I'm going to cover today what we're doing for training. I got involved with this group back in 2020, and I'm now the precinct development chair for Hillsborough County. Last year, great news, we turned really red in our county. We have over 22,000 more Republican voters than Democrats, and that same number for over independent voters as well. So that's great news. Our biggest challenge is getting Republicans voted into office still. We are heavily run by Democrats here still in Tampa. But I was asked to talk about precincts. We continue to struggle with filling all those precincts. We only have about 156 of them filled with precinct committee men and women. So that's a big challenge for us. We add to us every month, but then we also lose a few as well. That's a big problem with an aging group down here. But we do have a pretty good training module focus when people join our group. And the training is in two parts. The first part has to do with just reiterating their roles and responsibilities and what we expect of them as precinct committee men and women. We try to, we also educate them on the Republican Party and how it started. A lot of them are not even aware of that. And then we also do an education module on the structure of the Republican Party, from the precinct committee person all the way up to the Republican National Party. And these are little things that you would think people would know, but they really don't. So we just do a basic education for that. We spend a lot of time on voter outreach. When I joined, we were not sending anything out to any Republican. We really were not doing any outreach at all, other than when candidates were running for office, and then we would go canvass for the candidate. So a few years ago, we started with an outreach project where we developed a card where we sent to all of the independent voters in our county. And then in the last 2 years, we have developed voter bags for the newly registered Republican voters, because we realize that they may have registered, but maybe don't know when the voting dates or election dates are. And we have a card in there about welcoming them to the party and how to get information, when our meetings are, and some information about that. We also have a, we don't like it, we do have a vote by mail card, because whether we like it or not, that's where a lot of our votes go. And a lot of our Republican voters vote that way. So we've got information in that bag for those newly registered Republicans. And we've, in the last 2 years, canvassed or mailed cards to close to 18,000 newly registered Republicans in our county. So that has proven valuable, I think, because what's happened is it's increased our attendance in our monthly meetings, which now has helped us get some more precinct committee people in the organization as well. So a lot of hard work, but we think it's paying off. So let's see. We spend a lot of time on outreach and why we do it, which helps them. And then the second part of our training is WebElect. I'm not sure how many of you know what that is, but WebElect is a software product that we pay for. It's tied into our supervisor of elections database. And every month it gets updated with the new information on our voters. And we are able to access a wealth of information from that site about our voters by precinct. And with that, so we do a lot of training with our precinct committee people on how to access their voters in their neighborhood, in their precinct. And then during that time, we give them 10 voter bags. So they can go out then, and with that list in front of them, go and meet like-minded Republican voters. And that helps them understand canvassing, and that it doesn't have to be this scary thing, that it's pretty easy once you realize that you're going to a friendly door. We also stress during that process with them is that that's how they're going to get volunteers to help them in the voter outreach that we do. We put together a notebook for them, and it includes not only everything we covered during the presentation, but we also give them sample letters that they can send to their voters. We give them sample invitations that others of us have put out there where we've invited like-minded Republicans to meet at the coffee shop or for cocktails and conversation or whatever it is others are doing around our county. We also have a party comparison sheet in their notebook to help with talking points that they can use with their voter conversations. Let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, that's basically it. We
Tell
a
a
lot
little
is
bit
driven by, pardon
Tell
me?
them a little about your fundraising, how the Republican Party does fundraising in order to be able to support everything you're
Support
doing.
all this. So
Right.
last year we had 2 events that did really, really well. We have some great speakers that come at these events, and then this year we're doing one in about a month. It's called our Gala 250 event, which of course is our single fundraiser, and that's where we get all of our funding to support what we're doing for voter outreach. We also have, it's going to sound silly, but we have stamp drives because a lot of these places we cannot access apartments or condo buildings, and so we have to mail cards. We are also this time around for the August, we're calling it an August election. We're not calling it an August primary because we feel like a lot of voters don't know what a primary is. And so let's call it an election because that's what it is. And we hope that that is going to significantly increase our voter turnout. But we use these gala events and these events that we house to get our money to do this. And of course, we have our monthly donations and things like that. And then a number of us will, provide like in-kind donations for certain tools that we may need to produce all these bags and all this stuff. But we're doing pretty well with it. And yeah, that's
All right. So if people want to reach you, how do they reach you?
so my email is my name, Karen Leonardo 1955 @gmail.com. That's when I send out emails to people. It doesn't look like it's political, and Google doesn't catch me. So you can send me you can drop me a line. My phone number for anyone who wants to call is 813-244-9965. If I don't recognize a number, if it comes across as spam, please leave a voicemail. I will call you back, but I do like to use voicemail. So
Thank you very much. Well, we appreciate you coming and sharing everything with us. And we just let you know that if you go to our precinctprojectusa.org, Karen's literature is up there, one of the leading booklets that she has on how to get involved and what to do. So it's very important that you go there. Again, we'd like everybody to join precinctprojectusa.org. It's free. You get a lot of information, and we're glad to have you. So my assistant, Anthony, you want to put me on the screen? There you go. There he is. Okay, so she was talking about fundraisers, and you can see our fundraiser this year for the Broward Republican Executive is going to be Trump Day. I think you could see that. It's going to be at the racetrack here in Hallandale. Last year we had Byron Donalds. This year we're going to have some exciting people. We've sent out invitations to a lot of the Trump family, and we'll see if anybody responds. If anybody would like to come, we had 450 people last year. Just send me an email at stern1054@gmail.com. We'll send you all that information. It's a huge event. You meet a lot of the candidates that are running all over Florida. We have people fly in from all over. We have exciting stuff going on. There'll be a lot of Trump information there. We're going to give out gold coins for Trump. And it takes a lot of effort to do this. So we work about 5 weeks, and we have a committee. And that's what a lot of the organizations do. Now, what do you do when you get all this money? Well, you got to run an organization. You have an office. You have expenses of emailing and texting and doing everything to turn areas red that are blue. Now, actually, Broward County is a blue area, but we're turning red. and we work very hard to do it. So it costs money. So we earn about 70,000 on a Trump International Day and about 80,000 on this event. We have a lot of people that donate, and we spend a lot of time getting new members, and that's so important. And that's why a lot of the people are talking about precinct strategy today, precinct project, why we do this. We got to get people involved. Now we need young people involved. Turning Point, YRs, YR stand for Young Republicans. I have reached out to many from colleges, from high schools, because what happens is you have a lot of establishment and Rhino people who don't let young people in because they're afraid they're going to take over, because they're aggressive. And so it's very important. So our next guest, who's one of my good friends, Annie Parchett from Illinois, has fought the Republican Party. And I got to say, she is one of the hardest fighters in the United States. I mean, if there's anybody you want to support, Illinois Freedom Alliance, she is wonderful because she has come in some cases because of what they were trying to do to her. I mean, she's going to probably let you know. She's been all over TV talking about it. But we want to support her 1,000% because she is one of the hardest working people that I know. Annie, you want to come down?
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for having me today. I'm on my way to another event, so we pulled over so that I could give you my undivided attention. What I wanted to talk to people about today is something that a lot of the leaders are going to face at some point, and most are not going to be prepared for it. So this is what you do when the real challenge isn't external, but it's internal. And more importantly, what do you do when that happens? And in our case, we chose to stand our ground. So it started, the Illinois Freedom Alliance started 5 years ago when my friends and I wanted to join the GOP and just become active participants in the process. And the group did not want anything to change. They have their own culture, their own circle of people, and we were not welcome. They told us, if you're so smart, go do it yourself. And so we said, okay, well, we'll try. We knew it was going to be hard, but we thought we'll try. And so we did. And we started the Illinois Freedom Alliance. And part of the whole process with getting involved in the GOP in any way, shape, or form is understanding the processes. And so we ended up focusing mostly on developing training, because while we're learning, we may as well develop a class about the topic that we need to study. So we've developed a really big training program, and you can go out to illinoisfreedomalliance.us and you can sign up for these classes. There's this is our training schedule for the next quarter, and we have our classes on the parliamentarian project is the biggest one. I want to make sure I get to you guys today, because what happened was in Rock Island County, I was elected chairman after a period of time, and we did that with the precinct strategy. We went out, we met people, and we got more people to sign up, and I was elected. And not too far into my election, a small group of people, the people that had told us to get lost before, stood up in a meeting and said they've lost confidence in me. And our response was real simple. It was, okay, where's the evidence? Well, because of our bylaws, removing leadership requires there has to be a cause. It has to be a process. It has to be investigated. None of that was done. And so nothing happened with that. So what these people did was they went and they scheduled another meeting, and it was improperly noticed. Based on our bylaws, you can't just call a meeting. And I had it reviewed by our chairman of the Illinois GOP and by the attorney, and they both said that the meeting was improperly noticed. And then I learned about a parliamentarian review, and we met with the parliamentarian and learned that a parliamentarian can review a case like ours much cheaper than a legal review. And what's real important about a parliamentarian review is that is a legal document an attorney can use to help establish a passport legally. So that's what we did because it's faster, it's less expensive than a legal review, and it produces a written opinion, and it helped us understand exactly what was done wrong. And I even held a class for these people to show them how to properly remove a chairman, but none of them came to the class. So what we ended up doing was we got an attorney. It took 8 months, but we went to court, we filed a lawsuit, the judge decided in our favor, and the people refused to cooperate because you got to understand they filed a false document with the State Board of Elections, which they used screenshots from that to take our bank account. They took our mail, they took all of our social media platforms, and they took our telephone. And guess what? We didn't quit. Yes, I called Steve crying sometimes. I was just so disheartened because I'm so passionate about the mission I'm on, the time I'm spending in my retirement. I wanted to spend with my grandkids and my family, but I'm doing this, and to be beat up and kicked around for doing what I think God is telling me I need to be doing, it's been very, very disheartening. But we won, you guys. We got everything back, and we are in charge. And so what I want you guys to know is that when people reject the process and they start disrupting your progress, that's when your leadership really begins. Real leadership is tested when you're being challenged, when people are making accusations, and when things feel chaotic. And so that's when you got to decide. You're going to stay focused. You got to stay positive, follow all the rules, protect your mission, and don't back down. Because if you abandon your structure, you lose everything. So if someone listening is going through this, anything like this is in politics, maybe you're in a nonprofit organization, you're on a board, or even in business, here's what I want to say. Start with a parliamentarian review, document everything, really, truly understand your bylaws. And then if you need to, bring in legal support. And your parliamentarian will be able to help you with defining if you need legal support. Don't skip those steps, because when you follow the process correctly, you're not just defending yourself, you're strengthening your organization. So I'm happy to share what we've learned and help others navigate in situations like this. And Steve, I give you, I just really, really appreciate all that you do, and for giving me an opportunity to talk about this, because the more leaders understand how to do this, they're going to know how to handle it the right way, and maybe get it settled. Because it would be real easy to lose confidence, and you got to remember that these other people's, they're just their opinions. You've got to follow the bylaws and the rules, and you can't have one false filing disrupt an entire organization. So you can find us at Illinois Freedom Alliance .us. We have training. We have a 3-part poll watcher training class coming up. Yeah, it's a little bit strictly Illinois, but most of it's common, is really the rules that are applicable across. So that we do our trainings normally on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time. We open the room around 5:45, and we run about an hour, but there's lots of open discussion after that as well. We do an overview of the Illinois GOP, which is really, it's the whole organizational structure and how all the pieces fit, and to emphasize the fact that the GOP is built from the precinct committeeman on up. The executive boards, the chairman, they can't do anything without a good solid precinct committeeman base. And so you got to know what you're supposed to do as a PC, and we want to make sure you have all the tools you need. Tuesday night we have a PC toolkit training, so it's going to be all kinds of information about building your team and setting up communications. I'm teaching an AI training, or AI to build teams and communicate effectively, creating content in minutes, and expanding your presence. So I'll be teaching that. Parliamentarian training will be every Wednesday night for 8 weeks. That does have a fee because we do hire a parliamentarian to teach it. That runs $100 for an 8-week class. Excellent opportunity. This is the second round we're doing. The first round, we had about 25 people get certified as new parliamentarians. So we hope you can consider that. I guess the last thing I'd say too is don't be afraid to partner up with other groups to rent an office space, because we run a 2,500 square foot facility with 10 to 4 Monday through Friday. I'm telling you, walk-ins all day long. And we partnered with other groups to share the expenses. So you can, we have the Illinois Freedom Alliance, Illinois Grassroots Alliance, and we started Illinois Conservative Action Network, a PAC, when our GOP PAC was unavailable to us, when people improperly took over. So that's basically what I have for you, Steve. Do you got any questions for me?
No, we're good, Annie, and thank you so much for everything you do. I know you teach a lot of people what to do. I know you have classes. Show them, put up your book that you send me all the time. If anybody wants to.
Yes, we have. I don't have a copy of the Grassroots Quarterly on me, but we publish a magazine, real slick cover, it's really nice. It's we publish that quarterly. It's called Grassroots Quarterly, and you can subscribe to that on our website too. In fact, if you become a member, you get a free subscription to Grassroots Quarterly. It'll be in your mailbox. Who doesn't want a magazine in their mailbox? You don't get them anymore. So, thank you so much.
All right, Annie, thanks so much. We appreciate it. And our last guest is Cynthia Haggard from Missouri. And, I know you've all had a great time here today, and Cynthia's our last person. And go ahead, Cynthia, go on down.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
All right. Terrific. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. To get started with, thought I would just let you know, in Missouri, we're probably organized pretty much the same way everyone else is. It's based on townships, wards, and precincts, depending on the size of the county. If we were full, if every committee position was filled, we'd probably have somewhere around 3,000 committee members. I'm guessing at that because we're never told. The state GOP doesn't share that information with us. And because they don't share information, we've had to pretty much build our own database with the help of grassroots people from around the state. So what we've done, we reorganize, we elect new committee members and officers every 2 years, and this is one of those years. It's every primary year. So what we've done is build our own data with the help of grassroots people from around the state. When reorganization occurs, we collect as many names as we can, we build our own database, and we share that on our own website. I'm the chair of an organization called REPAC-MO, and that stands for Republican Association of Central Committees. And that's what we do. We exist to support and train the central committees to provide them with everything from committee, what you're supposed to do as a committee person, to how to recruit. We do all of that. We do classes around the state, and we do that because the state GOP does not. Wonderful. The state committee is full of terrific people. But GOP leadership, and it sounds like it's pretty much like this around the country, GOP leadership would like for the central committees to just sit down, shut up, and go away. So we do what they won't, basically. We offer classes on things like committee responsibilities, Robert's Rule of Order, their statutory authority, what's the basic party structure, how does it even form, where do you fit in that? And as your previous speaker mentioned, central committees are the foundation of all of that. We do classes on intro to legislation. We do opposition research, website design. We have a class that we'll be offering this year that's a one-day website design. Build your website in a day and take the tools with you to be able to manage it. Because as I think Andy mentioned, your second speaker, websites are really important. We've had at the REPAC-MO website, in the 3 years we've had it up and running, we have over 25,000 hits. People come to get information, and central committees come to that website to find information they can't get anywhere else. So on the subject of recruiting, we teach in our classes things that you should do. Okay, I'm on a central committee now. Now what do I do? So we talk about the things that you do to grow your committee, like just simply holding meetings every month. Bringing in speakers. We've had speakers. We had a former Border Patrol agent come in and speak. We've had a gaming commission law enforcement officer come and tell us about cryptocurrency scams. Monday, we have a gentleman coming who's got 30 years in law enforcement. There's a Navy SEAL commander that was killed. It was ruled a suicide. This gentleman's broken open that case. It'll be in the Washington Post in the next few weeks. He's coming to speak to our committee Monday night. So we try to bring in speakers that engages the community and brings them to our meetings. And usually the room is full. What else do we do? Obviously, electing candidates, that's super important. So get out the candidate forms, get out the vote. Having a headquarters during the election seasons is critical, I think. Manning it and staffing it is tough, but it's a necessity. And then the other thing we do that the state GOP doesn't is hold candidates accountable. We've implemented a vetting program. We did this in the 23 election cycle. We believe that if you're going to run on the Republican ticket, you should actually be a Republican, and that's a huge problem across the country. So REPAC-MO developed an objective vetting process. We asked candidates to go through it. We can only ask if it's not the county level candidate because the state GOP only cares about numbers. We're working the best that we can to get our state candidates and our federal candidates involved. And in fact, one of the people in 23 that went through our process was Will Scharf. Will Scharf is the guy who hands Donald Trump his executive orders. He's his White House staff secretary. Will not only went through the vetting program with us, he made a video that's on our website supporting the process, as did several other candidates. So, back when Antonin Scalia was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, there was a case, California versus Jones, and it was decided that Antonin Scalia delivered the majority opinion. And one of the things that he said was, political parties have a First Amendment right of association, and the corollary of that is the right to not associate. And nowhere is that more important than in the party's ability to pick its candidate. So at the county level, we have the ability to say no to candidates who don't represent our values. Our county clerk decided to challenge that authority last year, or 2 years ago, the last election cycle, and we actually took her to court, and the court agreed that we had every right to control that ballot. So, that's something that we push heavily. This year, there are counties who are doing the same vetting that we did that are running into the same problems and are attacking it similarly. So we're very big in supporting our central committees and teaching them what they need to do to be effective in their communities and to grow the party.
Well, thank you very much. How do they reach you?
chair@repacmo.com.
Thank you very much. Okay, you got it. So we're going to recap everything and we'll close it. The first thing is, let's talk about again our Trump Day. Anybody interested in that, please email me at stern1054@gmail.com. You could see what's going on. We spent a lot of money on these things. We're getting new people. And to give you a little example, there's so many people out there that want to donate. If you don't reach them, you don't get it. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Somebody gave me a donor. I called him up, invited him. He donated $1,000. Then we called him about, hey, maybe you want a table to our event. He donated $10,000. That's how you got to get them. There's plenty of people in the state that want to donate, but they donate to Trump. They donate to the Republican Party, but they donate locally. You've got to knock on their doors. That's the only way you're going to do it. So let's wrap up. If you want to come on our election security call next week, go to stern1054@gmail.com and I will send you a link. Don't forget our flag shirts, whether you want a regular flag shirt, a 250. We got all type of hats, all brand new. The most important thing you can do is sign up for precinctprojectusa.org. We want to thank Dan Schultz, who spent 14 years working on precinct strategy. I mean, he has not made a penny on this. He's got a book that he sells for $10. So please go out and get his book. And if you would like to be a poll watcher and poll worker, go to protectthevote.com. We work very closely with that. And we had over 200,000 poll watchers and poll workers at our last election. So thank you very much for everybody who's podcasting it. If you know any podcaster that we can get, please send them to me. We are great communicators. We communicate with everybody. So thank you for joining our call today, and hopefully we'll see you next Wednesday, 2:00 Eastern Time, for our election security call with our special guest, John Goodman, who is going to break some good information. And we have a couple other people who we may bring on if they got late breaking news. Action, action, action. We'll